Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart. All the guys that are on That Wrestling Podcast. You are the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Keep on rocking. Stay cool. God bless.
That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. The good bad guys of Wrestling Podcast are back, talking all things of the week that was in professional wrestling. I'm Brian with a friendly reminder: snitches get stitches. Thanks to Dom Mysterio there.
Well, I am the straw that stirs the drink. I am Mr. WrestleMania, Mr. SummerSlam, Mr. Money in the Bank, and the reason you're here. I'm Jason Marchuka at Marchukamania on Twitter.
And I am Joe, the guy in shades. You may also know me as my side job, where I am the official popcorn vendor of the Bloodline. Didn't know that, but yeah, I got the skills.
You were busy on Friday last week. Yes,
I was really busy. I thought I'd just do one, but all of a sudden it was like 2, 3, and then the cleanup was a pain, but whatever. It was worth it.
Yeah. You take the highs and lows. Puts the one finger up. That's great. Kevin is off this week, taking a much-deserved break. We look forward to him coming back next week. Let's get into it, guys. Last week, when we were all together, the news broke that day. Vince McMahon wanting to be back as chairman of the board, and that he would not approve of any new TV deal unless he got his way. And that's exactly what happened. Becoming official days later, Vince is back. He's bringing back Michelle and George, who he mentioned, back on the board with him. We had multiple board members resign. And then the bomb gets dropped on Tuesday evening that Stephanie is resigning from WWE. In her statement, she referenced her leave of absence, which we kind of forgot about, that she had taken just prior to Vince retiring. But saying that she's taking it a step further. She's resigning from WWE. So think about that. Vince is back in charge, and neither one of his kids, Stephanie or Shane, are part of WWE. That is crazy shit. And then on Wednesday, per Mike Leonard of Bloomberg Law, a class action lawsuit filed against Vince in the state of Delaware accuses him of illegally using his majority voting control to oust 3 board members, replace him with people loyal to him, and push through the changes that would impose his will on the board and WWE. There's a lot to take in there, guys. But your reaction to Vince being officially back and Stephanie gone?
So, you know what's crazy? I can relate to this. It's no secret. I'm not breaking down any walls here. My wife and I are looking to leave Los Angeles and go back to the East Coast. And my dad
Kevin
said,
breaking news.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it's not breaking news. But anyway, so talking to my dad, he goes, I can get you a job in the warehouse at where he works. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't think I need to work with my dad. So I think Stephanie McMahon's in the same boat.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, to my knowledge, my dad hasn't done the things that Miss Stephanie's dad has been accused of. But I just think that, she wanted to take a leave to get away from what was coming. And then all hell broke loose. And she was like that, break glass in case of emergency to have a McMahon running the company along with Nick Khan. And now that Vince pushed his way back, I think she still want to be a part of it. And if this sale does happen, I think we touched on it a little bit last week. She's going to make a few $100 million, much like Triple H is going to make a few $100 million off this sale. So good for her. She wants to spend time with her family. The daughters are all teenagers, I think. And the big thing now for me, I'm curious. She came out about a year or 2 ago and said she'd be fine if her daughters wanted to train to be wrestlers. I wonder if that's still the case.
That's a good point. Good
It
point.
probably is. I mean, it is in the family business, and they all did it. So, mom and dad were both multiple time champions. Yes, we got to remember Stephanie was a women's champion, but
true.
I just, I, I don't think she ever wanted. I don't know her obviously, but I don't think she ever wanted the CEO position. That's why she was co. She was there just basically to help,
Have a
transition
McMahon in
because
charge.
have a McMahon in charge, but it was always going to be Nick Khan's job. I am just hoping that Vince McMahon is back strictly for the sale and not
Yeah.
for anything else.
I think that's a great point. Vince retiring and Stephanie staying on, I think that would have been a reassurance for stockholders. Like,
Yeah.
it's still the family's there and knowing what they're doing. But yeah, I think that's the $1 million question about. We have Vince's intentions of, I'm here to explore the sale and get this new TV deal. And when it comes to the family, I guess what's next is, where does this leave Triple H? Because he's still there. He's had the reins of everything creatively for about 6 months now. I'm afraid. I mean, is it just a matter of time before Vince says, I want that job too?
Well, Brian, the big story here is that you haven't made a Simpsons video with Vince's face on it.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I've seen other ones.
Miscellaneous,
Yeah.
it's just it was your thing, and that's the big
Where's
miss.
Where's the Grandpa Simpson going into the brothel video?
Yes,
Where's that one?
I've done that for Leo Rush and Adnan Verk. You're right. I need to whip that up. My apologies.
Like Brian, I don't know what's going on with 2023, but like we need those photoshopped Simpsons heads
Do we though?
taken care of.
No,
we really don't. But Brian does.
We don't need it. But
I can do my part. Well, what I did last week, though, remember I did the Vince has a new video that he released, and it's the Vince Titantron with the Eric Bischoff theme song of "I'm back and better than ever." So I was at least in that ballpark, I guess.
And we saw the NWO promo too of him saying, "I'm gonna kill it, me."
I've seen that a bunch. But yeah, I mean. Listen, Vince is the ultimate wild card, of course. But if you're Triple H, are you going, oh shit, or like you feeling good? I don't know.
If I'm Triple H, I'm going, well, no matter what, I'm gonna get some bank out of this. Yeah,
that's fair.
That helps the stress.
So work while you can, and then if he were to get let go, I'm sure he can afford a lawyer. I'm sure they could sue Vince. Unlawful termination, or whatever that lawsuit was about manipulating stock and bringing his yes men back and stuff. So this whole thing is a little, well, actually it's a lot. It's a lot of mess. And that proved Tuesday night on Twitter when some putz reported that the WWE was sold to Saudi Arabia. And guess what? Not true. Here's the thing. Everybody's got to have a hot take. Everybody's got to get there first. I texted Brian. I said, I don't believe anything unless Sean Ross Sapp or Ariel Helwani confirms it. And guess what? Neither one of them did. And if you're a young person on Twitter, okay, you're young, dumb. Okay, you're going to fire off stupid tweets. If you're a grown man or woman saying, oh, I'm done, I'm never going, shut up. You were a dumbass for sending the tweet. And you're a dumbass for saying that if they were to sell to Saudi Arabia, you wouldn't watch. Because guess what? You would.
Well, that's your opinion on that, but I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of outrage on Twitter, and I think that.
But it was all for nothing.
Well, no, I completely agree. It was, but let's look at it like this, because last
Twitter
week,
outrage.
Yeah, I know.
Twitter did its job. They did its job.
It did.
Is there a Simpsons thing for that? Because I would like to see that one.
I bet if we look hard enough, I'm sure there is. But let's look at it this way, because last week, we talked about potential sale buyers, and we spent a lot of time talking about Disney, Netflix, Amazon. I was not thinking the Saudi Arabian government could do that, but while it's not official by any stretch, it sounds like at least it's a possibility. They own that Live Golf, right? That Live Golf tour that started up in a year ago. So when I hear that, it's like, well, it's not, they have a relationship with Saudi Arabia. It's not that far-fetched, I guess.
And a report came out that in November of this year, they took out a loan for $17 billion in cash.
Oh my God. That's who Saudi Arabia did?
Yeah. So if they were prepping for this.
Amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I have like a $500 credit limit on my Discover card. I mean, that's cool. I thought it was cool, but knowing that you can take $17 billion in cash, that's even cooler.
Baby steps. Go to 1,000 and then 1,500 and so on and so forth.
I know. My 800 credit score isn't getting me there yet. So
we have this wild card now of the Saudi Arabia government, and then according to Barron's.com, it's a sister publication of the Wall Street Journal, says AEW is in the pool of potential buyers for WWE.
The cons are not AEW. The cons. There's a difference.
Well, it's together in a difference. Correct. Yes. But yes, Shad Khan,
like saying
Tony's
the Jacksonville
dad.
Jaguars are interested in buying WWE. There's a difference.
Yes, the semantics. You are correct. It's not
okay.
And I have
MJF the champion buying, or whatever. But
I have sources that can confirm Nick Khan was at the national championship game on Monday with Bob Iger and others. So I have sources that did confirm that to me today. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think for me, and I think for most people, Disney would be the best buyer because, like we said last week, let's get a WWE theme park.
Yeah,
at Disney.
I disagree.
Well,
about best or
about the best. I think they're like 1B,
and that's who
I think. NBC Universal is the best. Because they have a theme park, Universal Studios. No, but they I can build up.
I can put my foot on your theory there in one sentence. A TV network cannot own a wrestling promotion. CWCW.
I got you.
They're not worried about the promotion. All they're worried about is the ratings. All they're worried about is the revenue. They're not worried about the product. That's what happened with WCW. And if Universal or Fox buys WWE, it's a bad play.
But different time, different era. It's not about ratings anymore. It's about streaming, and people are still going to Peacock. They're not one of the biggest ones. WWE has been a good addition to it. So why not just get that TV revenue, but it's just putting money in your own pocket, like Jay-Z buying his own vodka. He orders a drink, it goes money back in his pocket.
It's a good analogy.
Do you think he pays for drinks?
No.
He's Jay-Z.
In theory, yes.
I mean,
you're crazy
Disney,
for this one. Oh.
Disney makes the most sense. Disney as an entertainment
I think
company.
I like NBC.
Yes. Yeah. No, I can remember when Disney bought Lucas Star Wars.
Yes.
And at the time I was like, like, don't mess with Star Wars. And they only made it this gigantic.
No, they didn't. They messed with Star Wars. It's pretty bad.
They messed with Star Wars.
But they only, like, I didn't know what they were going to do. This is a different,
like 14 new Star Wars shows coming out next week.
But there's just
6 new movies.
But the point, they're promoting, they're branding. There's the new area of the theme park. Analogy. So no, but I think the point remains. You can say you don't like the content, but you can't deny that they didn't take the content and made it bigger and more. We had 3 Star Wars movies, or I guess 6, because they were the prequels as well, right? And a Star Wars Christmas special.
They took a good scotch and watered it down so much and made it like Canadian Club. That's what they did.
How dare you disrespect Canadian Club?
No, but that's what they did. It's like there's nothing wrong with it. It's an acquired taste. Some people like it, but what they did was they took something that was Canadian delicious. Club. And they put too much. They watered it down so much, and they oversaturated it. Where it's like it's lost value.
That's fair. That part is fair, but
Nerd flag.
in any event, yeah. So there's so the story again has changed every single day since last week. So me and Jay were watching that Twitter fiasco on Tuesday night, going like, emergency podcast if we need it. We're ready. We're ready.
But the funny thing,
like Sami
the
Zayn.
funny thing was the emergency pod wasn't about the cell.
It was
about Triple H.
Triple H would have been the one for me. It would have been a Stephanie Triple H are gone within like 5 hours. Pod. The Saudi Arabia stuff just started flying out there. I think some people took that Saudi Arabia rumor too as that's why Stephanie quit. Saudi Arabia wouldn't want a woman CEO or whatever.
Right.
It's like, oh God, like I can see connecting the dots that way, but yeah, it just obviously got way out of control. And we'll wait for the reputable sources to actually break the news if and when it does happen. Meanwhile, to actual wrestling, Monday Night Raw, we have to talk about Dom Mysterio on Miz TV. So if you missed it, then I know they showed clips, but Dom and Rhea on the WWE socials on Christmas were arrested at his grandparents' house for trying to come in. So yeah, he comes out from his TV in the sunglasses, the bandana mask, the flannel. Guys, is this a case of it's so bad that it's so good, or is it just so good? I can't decide.
It's just so good. It's just so good.
It's good.
It
is
not,
good.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Like
6
when I was
months
at
ago,
the Raw. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I said like when I was at the Raw in Nashville, it was just a video package of Dom with the white background, and the crowd was erupting in laughter. Everyone was like, "This is amazing!" Like they're like, "Oh my God!" And people were yelling, "He's got a teardrop tattoo!"
The teardrop tattoo.
Yes, that was just a 30-second video package. So it was like the taste to see what they were going to do next week, and when they went full on with the
the teardrop tattoo was great. And just think, 6 months ago on this show, I literally asked the question, something about who isn't better than Dominic Mysterio? And we named like the whole roster was better than him at the time. 6 months later, the Judgment Day, the Rhea stuff, and Graves was a big addition to this story because of the things he was saying on commentary.
Yes.
Phenomenal. I love it. I hope they put out a Dom Mysterio mugshot shirt. I will buy that.
That'd be big.
They did one for Vince years ago. Mm-hmm. I would love to see a Dom Mysterio
shirt, prison mugshot shirt. Yeah. There was there's
only one thing I feel bad about in this whole story. Damian Priest has just pretty much been the forgotten man of the Judgment Day.
He proved on Monday he's not. The way he worked in those tag matches in one night.
Yeah, well, Dom
but as
and
a worker,
Rhea,
but as a character, it's like, Dominic is pretty much.
Yeah, no,
don't let him keep Priest off the mic. Let him just be the fucking muscle.
Yeah, Priest can be the background muscle, like he was doing to Miz when Miz. And I'm so glad they did play it that way. Going of my sources say you were in there for an hour, leading to Miz going, I guess I had some misinformation. There was on WWE's Twitter during that segment, an amazing caption of just, Dom and their Judgment Day. And the caption read, Dom didn't choose the prison life. The prison life chose Dom. I laughed my head off at that. The other thing I wanted to mention from Raw, 2 weeks now, we've gotten video packages on Cody Rhodes, his return to WWE. Yes, that's the shirt, Joe, that you got from Nashville, looking nice. Showing how he returned at WrestleMania and then his injury at Hell in a Cell. I think it's safe to say, I know they said another video is coming. This is going to lead to him announcing his return. You'd have to think at the Royal Rumble. Have you guys liked this route of them doing these videos? Because it's literally the exact opposite of the surprise at Mania.
We all know he's coming, and we all know most likely he's going to win too. But for me, the videos don't mean anything. It's cool. I'm glad to see that, in case he was forgotten because he hadn't, he was only around for a couple months. So there might be a chance that some fans that may not have known Cody Rhodes from AEW or his time before, they're like, oh, that's right. He did come back. I'm excited to see what's next.
Joe?
It's the same video package they did with Triple H in 2002. It's just they haven't set up Cody to have his Madison Square Garden return. It's like they showed the first part was injury. Triple H did the same thing. It was the Raw against Jericho and He Who Shall Not Be Named. And then the next part was his surgery with Dr. James Andrew, same facility, and they showed like his quad being worked on, and it's black and white and gross. And then they showed the surgery of Cody, and it's like showing his pec, and I'm like about to throw up. I don't care if it's black and white, just seeing the muscle. So it's setting it up for a not surprise, but a feel good moment.
Yeah, my friend Keith shot that. He was in the surgery room.
I remember you telling me that.
You know what? You told me about that, and I was like, and then when I saw it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I was like, what? I mean, when he told me, I was like, whoa, all right. And then seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, he did shoot that.
And was this Brandy's first appearance on Raw since she was a ring announcer?
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, hopefully it's her last.
Oh, not a Brandy fan. Even
as long as she's not a character, it's
right.
Yeah, as long as she's not a character, it's fine. But it's like, it's like that's kind of a big deal that like they interviewed Brandy.
She was awful on AEW as a character. All the failed female factions they tried to put her in, and then the thing for me that just was like, all right, shut up. When she was in a promo with Ethan Page, and they said, she goes, well, we only signed you to get to Josh Alexander, so she literally admitted to tampering. Because he's an Impact Wrestling contracted wrestler and the champ for now. He might lose it tonight to Bully Ray at the pay-per-view, but that's besides the point. Brandy sucks.
I thought you were going to bring up that line. I can't remember what the promo was, but she called herself. She goes, but I'm a black bee. Remember that guy? So I was like, oh, what are we doing?
Terrible. Terrible. But what do I know? I'm just a putz sitting in my room talking about wrestling.
All good.
But you're an analyst.
Yeah, it says the shirt. Yes. What are you wearing? Yes.
Analyst.
We don't do that.
We used to, and maybe occasionally will.
And then you got married.
SmackDown. After losing to Cena and Kevin Owens, Roman ends up snapping at Sami Zayn at the beginning of the show, only for him to apologize to Sami for treating him this way. But he does end up booking Sami versus Kevin Owens for tonight on SmackDown. Joe, you were taking care of the popcorn last week. I'm sure you were a part of that tense moment. Predictions on the match and kind of where this goes next in the Sami Roman story.
I don't care where it goes as long as it continues. Like my prediction is, it's like, let them have their match, win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's just got to continue. Okay. I want to continue being entertained by everybody in the bloodline and everybody that they work with. It's been a while since there's been a bloodline storyline that hasn't been entertaining on both sides.
You know who didn't get an apology? Jimmy Uso. Jay Uso.
Yeah.
They didn't get an apology.
Mm-hmm.
So stirring the pot?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know,
like
guys.
Jimmy does to the Street Profits every time they have a match.
It feels to me like this is starting to, as they say, the rubber meets the road. I feel like with something's going to happen Friday, and then, maybe something happens with Sami costing Roman the match against Kevin at the Rumble, not necessarily switching the title, but doing something of a mess up. I think we're getting closer. And of course, with the Elimination Chamber match or premium live event in Montreal. I think I'm feeling like we're starting to get to the finish line, but time will tell.
Yeah, probably WrestleMania.
I'm not feeling too oozy about this. I hope that they don't kick him out. I hope he's in there for the long haul. I hope he becomes a real member of the bloodline. I don't know if they have to cut their hand and shake with the blood brother type thing or what.
Right.
I mean, only time will tell.
Oh my god.
No, he has to do the dance and then chant. When I say oos, y'all say oh, oos,
Oh.
like have the crowd do it, and
yeah.
then he's in.
Oh
It's
my
actually
gosh.
ooh and so, not oos and o.
It's either
Whatever.
way. Either way,
He's Canadian.
It's not good. They showed. I saved the clip. I think because of Raw's 30th anniversary coming up in a couple weeks.
You mean Raw Triple X?
Raw Triple
the
X
merchandise
with Vin
is saying?
Diesel and the whole crew. And WWE put on their.
You went with Vin Diesel. Okay, you're
Wasn't he Triple X, right?
Yeah,
And-
Ice Cube
he
was
was.
too.
Okay.
Ice Cube was as
okay.
well.
Of course, I never saw it, but I know what it is. So I gotta throw it out there. But what was I saying? They put out on their Facebook the most shocking moment of Monday Night Raw every single year in their history. And it's a cool playlist because it's like 50 minutes long of like, a minute and a half of some moment. And they showed whatever year this was, maybe, I don't know, 15, 14, when Roman beat Sheamus for the title on Raw. And Jimmy and Jey Uso put him up on their shoulders, and they still got like the orange and blue shirt. They got the half and half face paint, and it was
The
like,
half face
oh
paint.
my god! Like
I had
what
that
a
shirt.
difference.
I'm kicking myself. I don't
Tamina
have that
was
shirt
their
anymore.
manager.
Oh,
Yeah, Tamina when they came in.
she
Yeah,
was there. Yeah, so I was like, wow, we've come a long way, my Uso friends. My we've come a long way. Wednesday night, AEW Dynamite, big show in your backyard, Jay, the Forum in LA.
didn't go.
What's that?
Did not go.
You didn't go, and neither did Mercedes Moné, Jay.
I know.
Wow.
What's the
Funny.
bigger disappointment?
Your I was there shirt from 22 that we were pumping up so much is off to a slow start, but I know it's going to pick up here in 2-3 weeks when you're on the cruise.
Jericho Cruise.
Yes.
WrestleMania. And then I don't know what the hell else.
Saturday night's main event, July.
I told Brian that the only way I was going to go is if it was confirmed she was going to be there. And, we joked about the lackluster announcement of Toni Storm as the tag partner, but realistically, I'm guessing she may have a short-term deal with AEW. She's not signing long-term, but I have a feeling that New Japan said, hey, she cannot be in any match until she has her first match in February at Rally in the Valley or Thunder in the Blunder, whatever the hell the New Japan show's called in San Jose. So
I think it's Thunder in the Blunder.
Because Tony respects
it is
New Japan and everything.
It's now.
I'm blanking. There's a name on there, but
it's a good one. I like it.
So I think
whatever. It's a T-shirt.
Thunder in the Blunder.
Brought to you by TWP.
I'll have our guy on it. So yeah, I think that's why that New Japan said, hey, she can't have a match until she has her first match with us. But having Britt Baker last week say that she's the real boss, I guess was a nice way of saying that Mercedes ain't coming here, which is good. So
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, in retrospect, people took that as the clue of, oh, she's coming. I see what you did there,
Yeah,
Britt.
That's why I disagree, because Britt said I'm the real boss. And if you remember, Darby Allin said that I'm the best in the world. And then CM Punk showed up the next week.
Later,
so it's like they it's like, which one are you choosing there, AEW?
Yeah.
Well, this also leads to maybe she returns at the Royal Rumble. Maybe she gets the Cody return at Mania. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe she goes.
I don't want her. I said it last week and I'm saying it again. I want her nowhere near AEW.
Same. I agree with that.
I don't want her to even go to buy a ticket to an event or visit friends backstage. I want her in another state where AEW is at. I don't want her anywhere near it.
In May, she's at the Ontario Comic-Con out here in California. So,
okay.
So that's, at least she's going to be doing the cons and stuff, but CON, not
yes.
K-A-H-N.
Clarify, please, for our listeners.
She's doing the.
Yes. I don't know if Tony's happily married or not, but we can neither
I
confirm
wasn't
or
even
deny.
thinking that until you
I
just said
was.
it, jerk.
I thought
You
it the whole time.
You're dirty.
Thought it the whole time.
Somewhere in Indiana, Kevin's laughing.
Yeah.
Uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Uncontrollably. He's like, check your phones. Text is coming probably about now.
Yeah.
He did buy that Heart Foundation Mattel set that we were texting about earlier today. He goes, "You're the only one that'll really care, so I'm not even texting the other two."
That's fine. Good for him, though. He deserves that.
Treat yourself, Kevin.
Yeah, guys, and I have to say, I want to stand corrected. If you remember last week, I casually threw out there, I'm like, Tony Khan usually delivers on the big surprises, and you guys all kind of ganged up on me and said like, Christian, what? All these different ones. I was shocked she didn't appear. We did a TWP Twitter poll. It was about 2/3 saying yes, she appears.
You're all wrong.
You're all wrong. I was part of the 1/3.
30% were correct. But yeah, that I thought that's a pretty big miss, and I was surprised. But we did get a return. Adam Cole is back.
That was exciting. I was excited for that. I didn't really know what the deal was, and then I kind of had a feeling he was going to swerve everybody. And that's what he did. And that's what he did. So I'm glad he's back. And, don't put him with anybody. Let him just be a solo act. No, those other guys, the undisputed guys aren't there anymore. Don't put him back with the elite. Don't put him back with the kingdom. Let him just run roughshod. Because I think he could take the place of CM Punk. As popular, I think Cole could be that popular if AEW does their job right.
Great job, Jay. Because you led it right into what I was gonna say. Is like kind of what do you want to see from Adam Cole? Because the Red Dragon guys aren't there. A face, a heel, like it's just kind of any sort of direction. So, Joe, what are you feeling on this too?
I gotta agree with Jason. I don't want him to be with the elite at all. It makes him too silly. He's going to dress up as a Ghostbuster and takes away all that goodwill of him coming back. I
forgot about that.
I knew where he was going with this promo when he said good news, bad news. Because when he said bad news, I was like, I even told my wife, I told Jessica, I just went, he's going to say bad news for the AEW locker room. So, like, I predicted that, but it was like good to hear him say that. I was hoping he was going to retire the way he was talking about his health concerns. I care more about the guy's health than I do about him entertaining anybody, but it's not my choice, it's his. Yeah. I want him to be solo. I don't want him in the faction. There's too many of them in AEW. We've been saying that for 3 years now. I don't want him with the elite. I don't want him teaming up with Britt. They're doing their own thing. I want him. Once he's like 100% and ready to start a feud, I want him to just be Adam Cole.
Hey, bae.
Yeah.
Bae. Yeah. I was, it's hard to not say it afterwards. So thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
I'd lean toward, because he's so good as the asshole heel, but it's tough when you go off TV for so long and you come back, you're going to get the baby face pop. So I think he's going to roll with that for a little while. But yeah, we're in lockstep, guys. Do your own thing. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, we don't need to have him mix it up with the elite or if Kyle O'Reilly comes back from injury, anything like that. So that's cool. I'm glad he's doing well, and looking forward to big things from him.
And plus, does anyone even remember that he turned on the elite for the Trios Championship tournament?
True.
Besides me,
him and O'Reilly and Fish did that?
It was him and O'Reilly and Fish, and they said, like, you guys can't, I'm injured, you can't join the Trios tournament.
Okay.
Because we can't. And then they super kicked him and beat him down, but they were the ones that were injured. It was weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hope no one remembers that.
Well, thanks for reminding us, and now we all do. So good.
But it was a bad idea.
I'm not. Well, yeah, it would have set up some fun matches, but that's what AEW is fun matches, really. We did have the first match of Bryan Danielson having to win a match every week through February 8th. And if he does, he gets an, I know, Joe, we're going to get to it. 1 hour Iron Man match for MJF's title at Revolution on March 5th. This angle has been done a number of times in AEW. Joe, I'll let you say everything you want to say about this. But my question is, knowing what we know, because we're not idiots, does this take away from your enjoyment from watching matches? Because Danielson and Takeshita yesterday was really good. Take a shitta, as JF stole from us. As we know, I said that on the pod before. Does it take away your enjoyment? Joe, again, the floor is yours for just why they even have to do this. And then
does it take away the enjoyment of the match? Yes, it takes away the drama of the match, the story. You already knew what the outcome was going to be.
Right.
Does it take away from the athleticism of the opponents? No. Does it take away from those two guys having a great exhibition like it's preseason football? It doesn't matter. It's a predetermined event. No, but we already know what's going to happen because they did it in 2000. They did it in 2001. They did it in 2000. Oh, no. Well, sorry. I said 2000. They did it in 2020.
This
with
time
Cody.
travel
2021 with Jericho. 2022 with Wardlow. And now they're doing it 2023 with Bryan Danielson. Why do they have to do the same thing with MJF every year?
Agreed.
Like, it's MJF is no longer he's no longer a big deal to me. He's a novelty. He is a recipe. You follow the same recipe every single time and you'll get your cake at the end. Whether you eat it or not, that's your choice.
What I like most is that these 8 matches, it ain't going to be against QT Marshall. These are quality opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Takeshita.
Are you trying to say Juventud Guerrero was not a quality opponent? What do you have against La Parka?
So I'm looking forward to see who the 8 are. I wouldn't mind seeing a Buddy Matthews match with Bryan Danielson. I would love to see a Sean Spears with Danielson. But because we know that he is going to do it and they are going to have an Iron Man match at the pay-per-view, I'm not going. I don't want to sit through a 60-minute match at pay-per-view live. So I'm not going to the pay-per-view now. I was going to go, but because of this, I don't want to sit through a 60-minute. And more importantly, I don't want to see them take the belt off MJF after 3 months.
Yeah.
For another one of Tony's favorite wrestling figures.
Do you think they're going to take the belt off of him?
I think there is a strong possibility. I'll say a 62.5% probability that Bryan wins the title.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, that's up the road from you at I think San Francisco.
San Francisco,
Oakland. Yep. So
but
I hear you there.
I have no interest in sitting for 60 minutes. Well, I'll watch it on TV. I'll be fine with that. In an arena with no commentary, no, thank you.
It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that match stipulation because of MJF, as far as just like, Danielson, we've seen, I think maybe one of the Saudi greatest Royal Rumbles, he did like over an hour.
Yeah, it was. And his chest was all purple, red, and
so
it looked like one of those 3D pictures from the 90s.
Yeah.
I see a sailboat.
Right. So I know he can do it. It's like, boy, that's a nice showcase to see if MJF can hang. So that part does interest me. But yeah, I hate it. And I think that this is just a victim of having their pay-per-views in their case so spread out where full gear. I know, but yeah, it seems like it's one, especially, I don't know why, but because of the holidays. But it was like November 19th was Full Gear. Yeah. And we set this.
But then All Out was in September.
Yeah, so it's every 4 months.
So, 2.5 months.
And then Double or Nothing was in May, and then Revolution's in December, end of February, January, early March.
February, yeah. And this is like, I think it's March.
February 5th. March 5th. March 5th. Yeah.
So
March 5th.
You've got a thing that's been set, since basically first of the year that has 2 months to go. So, I mean, I guess you have to come up with the TV time to keep building it, but boy, it's a lot.
This is like the best of 7.
Right.
I wish that it wouldn't have been so predictable.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. When we knew that 7 was in LA.
The Young Bucks love basketball. They're Clipper fans. So they did the LeBron James down 3-1, come back and win. They bought the fucking John Tesh. Oh
yeah, the NBA and NBC from
Round
the
Ball
90s.
Rock. And they made such a point of saying that the last time a Game 7 was settled at the Forum, it was the Lakers and Pistons in '89. Like, it was so predictable. I would have loved to have seen Death Triangle retain. I thought that would have been a nice surprise that nobody would have saw coming. Like, everybody would have thought Young Bucks. But now, it is what it is.
It is.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Trios Championship is a blowhard championship. It was made for them. They got suspended, so it was given to and they got it back. I mean, it really meant nothing. For
a minute, I had a thought maybe Cult of Personality would hit as we went off.
Oh my God, really?
Wow. There's some talk. I mean, Punk
and Mercedes Moné would have come out.
Even funnier. Punk's starting to show up in AEW television production again. So, they took him off the cover of the video game, which is smart because they didn't know what the hell they were going to do with him. But FTR with Dax, his podcast, first week, it was about Punk and their relationship. And Dax really wants everybody to come together and make things right, to make good TV. That was episode 1. And then episode 3 came out today, and people were accusing him of just saying what Punk is telling him to say.
Okay.
If you're not listening to FTR with Dax, give it I would prefer you watch it on YouTube because it's such a good watch. And you see, like, this guy ain't fucking around. Like, he's not trying to work people. He's not trying to swerve people. He's speaking from the heart. And, the little bit, I don't know. Yeah, we're on AEW.
Go for it. Go for it. It's
FTR,
right
they're going to be off TV. Their contract ends in April. He talks about this on the podcast. Episode 3 came out today. They're taking a break, and whatever they decide, they will decide as a team. So if one wants to go to WWE and the other one isn't, they're not going to do it. And realistically, they've talked about maybe just hitting the road for a year, hitting all the big indies, and then end up, or maybe they end up back in WWE, which I would love. Not that their AEW run was bad, but it's not what they expected. And they've pretty much done everything in AEW.
Yeah.
FTR and the Usos? Are you kidding? FTR and the New Day?
Yeah.
FTR against Priest and Balor? I mean,
Street
FTR against the Street Profits.
Academy.
FTR against
oh my God, yes.
The Bangin' Bros.
No, don't. I hate that name. Bangin' Bros. That's not good. I hope that's not their real name. So, but yeah, so check out FTR with Dax after you're done watching this or listening to this one.
Kevin and I both last week in our predictions said, yes, they'll go to WWE in 2023 when their contracts are up. Now with this Vince news and the potential sale, I mean, I'm not sure. I think everything is just up in the air and they've got some time to really figure it out. But boy, it was trending that way for me. And it's always fun when a prediction for a year maybe goes down in flames about a week later. That might be the case with this one. The other big contract situation, Switchblade Jay White reportedly up very soon, according to Fightful. And in that story, says WWE feels they have a good chance at signing him. Jay has done some appearances on AEW and Impact Wrestling. Do you guys feel there's a company that's a best fit for him to join? I feel like WWE's had mixed success with New Japan guys like, Finn Balor, great. AJ Styles, great. Nakamura, mostly good. Good Brothers, okay. And Jay White has, of course, the Bullet Club connections with all of them. So I can see that being a fit. But again, this Vince stuff is just a black cloud. So if you had made me choose, I'd say he goes to AEW.
NXT. I would like to correct you on one thing. You said Finn great, AJ great, but Nakamura good. I'm going to put Nakamura as great as well. If you look at his resume, U.S. champ, Intercontinental champ, tag team champ, Royal Rumble winner.
It's
He's
fair.
done a lot of great things.
That's fair. Just
But
never had the
he's-
top
It was a
prize,
dud.
but
He
yeah.
didn't win, but it's still like a great resume.
Yeah, you'll take that resume.
So
That's
if you're gonna put the other two as great, you got to put Nakamura in there as well. But I agree with you, Jason. NXT. I don't want to see him in AEW. He'll get lost in the elite BS shuffle.
Put him to be the one to defeat Braun Breaker, send Braun to the main roster, let Jay run NXT for a year, and then he goes to the main roster in a year. I mean, look, he can go to the main roster now, but he'll get lost. He'll just get lost in the mix.
Will he though? If they do like
not-
a AJ type of debut,
he's maybe 6 feet tall. He will get lost, just like Gargano. He if he was 6'5", the way he is, he would be unstoppable. 6 foot? I don't know, but I think NXT would make the most sense. Have him work with Shawn Michaels for a year.
Yeah.
You know, I go Jay White to NXT.
Okay. I'd love to see that. I feel like his name is maybe a little bigger on the scale now. Like AJ Styles, when he came over, was like, come on, I don't want to do NXT. You know,
Different.
immediately from Japan.
Yeah, it's different.
It is different,
different.
but I think it's at least somewhat comparable.
Jay White.
Interesting.
If Jay White spent 8 years in Impact before he went to New Japan and had a name in the United States, okay, sure, go to the main roster. But he may not be as popular as AJ Styles was.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why you send him to NXT.
When that story came out too, the comments had a field day with, because Vince is in charge and the line of WWE feels like they have a good chance of signing him. Like, here comes Kiwi J, or Jay Blank. They're gonna rename, like
Jay Black,
classic Vince.
Jay Black.
Jay Black.
Jay Black.
Jay
Whitehead.
It's always going to be something. So who knows? That's another one though. He's every time I see him,
he's so good.
Yes, he's very good. Every time I see him do New Japan does those really good like press conference promos after their shows, and I've seen a couple of his where I'm just like, man, you are fucking good.
I think starting soon on Access every Thursday night.
Yes.
The Wrestle Kingdom 17 that just happened is going to start airing after Impact on Thursday night. So set your DVR, Brian.
Yes.
I know I've said it, I've told you a bunch of times. Just set your DVR when you have nothing to do, just grab a beer and you'll love it.
Yeah.
You will love New Japan.
No, I definitely want to check that out. All right, guys. I think that's about all we have, except we're going to do the second version of our 1 minute remaining. Would either of you do the honors of?
I got the clock. Hold on.
Got the clock. Okay. So if you missed last week, a new way that we're going to be doing the end of our show in some weeks is 1 minute remaining. Any one of us gets a turn and you get 1 minute to talk about anything you want. Could have to do with wrestling, could have nothing to do with wrestling, but you just get a minute uninterrupted to say your piece before we wrap up the show.
All right, Brian. So I want you to give me a 3, 2, 1 and start. When you say start, I will hit the stopwatch and I will give you a 10-second remaining clip. So whenever you want to do your 3, 2, 1, we are rolling.
Love it. Thank you. On 3, 2, 1. On Sunday night, Joe was over the moon as his Lions defeated the Packers and finished the season going 9-8. And I playfully digged him as a Steeler fan because going 9-8 and not making the playoffs isn't a good season. However, I can relate to Joe in this way because currently in the NBA, with a record of 22-18, in first place of the Pacific Division, your Sacramento Kings. That's right. The season is halfway through, and the Kings are in first place over the reigning champ Warriors, the team with the best record in the league last year, the Suns, the Clippers, and the Lakers with LeBron and AD. Is it going to last? Probably not. Am I enjoying it? Hell yes, I am. As a Kings fan, they haven't been to the playoffs since 2006, and after every win, they shoot a laser beam from the top of the arena to the sky. Fans light at the beam. It's so fun. Bottom line, whether it's sports or life, whatever it is, it's okay to celebrate success, no matter how big, or in the case of the Lions and Kings, how small the success is.
Lakers played the Kings the other night. I watched that. I was like, they're still not great. I wasn't impressed by the Kings. So, but great job, Brian, wrapping up the show with 1 minute remaining. If you want to see it again, you can just, scroll back a minute, or we'll do an isolated clip that'll come up later this weekend.
Love it. All right. At That WrestlePod for all your socials, youtube.com/That Wrestling Podcast, and whatamaneuver.net for your merchandise. Enjoy wrestling. What crazy week. What stuff we'll have to say about Vince next week. I can't wait. Everybody have a good weekend. Well, again, enjoy wrestling. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Follow That WrestlePod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3, that's it!
Thanks for watching That Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And for more That Wrestling Podcast content, follow @ThatWrestlePod on social media.